Hey guys, Unlicensed GT here with another video. Today is going to be a little bit different to my, all my content up until this point. We're not going to be in Assetto Corsa Competizione. Instead, we are going to be in rFactor 2. This is a sim I haven't really used as much as ACC. Up until this point, I have had practice sessions, and I practice on all the tracks that I own and also mod tracks, but I've never really had a proper race, be it in single player or multiplayer. Well, today I'm going to try out a proper race um, in rFactor 2, and instead of a GT3 race, we're instead going to have a multi-class GTE LMP2 LMP1 race. Um, so for that, I've gotten all the official GT cars as well as the LMP2 cars that are available to purchase in the store, as well as I did actually buy the LMP3 as well, but we're not going to be using that for today. Now the car that I'm going to be using will be the 488 GTE. Of course, I'm a Ferrari fanboy, I admit it. But mostly comes down to it's not going to be all that much different from the GT3 cars that I've used in ACC and also in iRacing and so on. So the 488 GTE is going to be ours. We're going to be using the AF Corsa number 51 car livery. And joining us on the grid will be all of the official GTE cars, as well as we are going to have the Ligia LMP2 car, the JSP 217. This will be featured there. We'll also be using the Orica 07 as well. The LMP2 category will be a mixture of these two. I'm probably going to be butchering their names, so I'm really sorry about that. But I wanted to have some official cars. Now we're not going to be using the Cadillac. I know that is a car that we can use, but I've reading up on it because I wanted to set up some sort of semi-realistic race. I looked and saw that the DPI is more for the American Le Mans series rather than the European Le Mans series, which is what I want to try and represent here. Maybe in future races I could use it, just forgo reality and just have this there anyway and have a good mixture of fast cars. But for today we're not going to be using this one. Now we are going to be using one mod car, and that's going to be, if I just find it okay here, the Ginetta LMP1 car, the G60. That's going to be a car that we're going to be using. It's if you wanted to use this in your own races, you can find it on the Steam Workshop. Very good mod, and I have noticed in testing this out, it is a lot louder than the other cars, but it shouldn't really make too much of a difference. But anyway, we're going to be using this LMP1 car to basically round off and make it look as realistic as possible. Now the track today, the track that we're going to be using will be the Monza circuit, going back to the track that I used quite a lot in the first few from Am to Pro videos. This won't be an Am to Pro video, this is just me trying it out, trying to see the rules, trying to test out the physics. It's just going to be me experiencing a race. What I will be doing though for this race is having practice qualifying and the actual race itself. I will only be showing a replay of the race, I think. I don't think really the qualifying and practice will be all that important. It'll just be me going around and figuring out, seeing whatever happens in this race. I'm really since it's not going to be in it from Am to Pro, I'm not really going to be looking into stuff that I can do better. It's mostly just I'm just going to be relaying my experiences. But anyway, without further ado, let's get straight on to the race. Okay, so getting started here with our first GT style race, albeit a miniature one, here at Monza. Only 30 minutes. Coming down to the first chicane here, I almost go straight into the back of these LMP2 cars. Trust me, that's not going to be the last incident with this bunch of cars. Now, as you probably saw before, I qualified in pole actually for GTE. I did do a proper qualifying session beforehand as well as practice. So I qualified in pole. Fantastic. I actually was really happy at that. There's about 20 or so GTE cars. Now, as for the other ones, the LMP2s, we have our first incident here. I almost go straight into one of those cars that spun out, which would have pretty much seen our race ended if I hadn't have narrowly missed that. The LMP2s, for some reason, are just really rowdy. Um, yeah, I guess rowdy would be the right word for it. They just seemed really aggressive with one another. I'm not sure if that's just the way the AI are programmed. I think the AI difficulty is set to 95%, with the aggressiveness also turned all the way up. Um, so already I'm trying to avoid like this United Autosports LMP2 car. I'm really nervous, so I kind of allow myself to skid off a little bit just to let him past. I don't want to really cause an incident. But anyway, as I was saying before, I qualified in poles, so I was really happy with that result. For some reason, the Monza circuit here seems really easy to navigate in comparison to ACC. I'm not sure if that's just a physics change. A big example of this is I can actually brake later on this main straight into the first couple of chicanes. Simply, like I'm not sure why. Like I can brake here at the 100 meter mark. 100-foot mark. I'm not sure if that's in meters or feet, but anyway, I was able to brake there on this one, while in ACC I would have to be braking like a lot further back. I'm not sure if that's just a realism thing. I have tried to make this as realistic as possible. I think I did forget the actual damage settings though in this particular race, but it wasn't really a matter, at least for me. Now coming through here, back to where we saw those LMP2s before, we can actually see that two LMP2 cars are actually stuck, almost like merged, or maybe three of them actually, were stuck and merged there. Yeah, as I said, LMP2s for some reason are just really insane. I was getting yellow flags there, and then here I actually see that one flashing SC safety car. I wasn't entirely sure though what to actually do in the event of a safety car because I've never had one in the sim before, and I wasn't entirely sure on the rules. But then I saw my quote-unquote teammate, that's what we'll call him, the other AF Corsa Ferrari here, speeding right up to me. So I assumed, okay, right, we must go. And as it turns out, I had a look into it a little bit later on, and yeah, looks like I was supposed to speed up and find the safety car. But first time ever I've actually had a safety car in the sim. I'm not entirely sure about other games. I just know that from ACC, my experience in ACC I should say, that I've never had a safety car. I know iRacing does it too, but I've never experienced it in that sim as well. At least, I mean, to be fair, I haven't really had all that many races yet in iRacing. Yeah, first safety car, interesting. I'm pretty sure then. I mean, I'm guessing, but full course yellows and stuff would also be in effect, maybe too. I would like to hope so, because if that's the case, I'm definitely going to enjoy doing races, like longer form races. While I don't have the GT3 cars yet, something I do want to set up with the endurance stuff is, you know, if I can get somebody else to act as my teammate, is to do like 2 or 3 hour races, like full on endurance races, and just see what happens. Something I can do in ACC as well. I'm just not sure about ACC with the crash stuff. Whether or not a safety car actually gets deployed, I've never seen it before. Anyway, coming back through this area where we see those two cars still merged, we've finally caught up to the safety car in the long trail of LMP1s and LMP2s. Very interesting first couple of laps. Being that this is only a 30-minute race, I was expecting it to go some way like, you know, ACC, except this time I'll be the one overtaken when these LMP cars come around. But now we have the safety car, which just adds like a whole lot of drama to it. So the safety cars, you can we're just about to, yeah, you could just make them out now. Like leading us here, like what I was really interested in though was that this is the actual car from the pit lane. I'm not sure if that's a model then that is just like if it's an actual like simulated model within the game, but I was just really blown away by just seeing this. Um, like I've never just had this situation where you have these like safety rules in any other sim. Anyway, coming down then. This will after this lap, the safety car will be heading to the garage, or it should be heading off there right about now actually. And then after that, we'll be back to green flag racing. Now, since I'm in first position for the GTE category, obviously I'm kind of a bit nervous now because we did have a large gap before the safety car, and now all the well, thanks in part to that accident. But then we have all of these GTE cars all bunched up again, which kind of made me nervous. I was really thinking we'd run away with it since they were so far behind. Just before we get back to green flag racing, that LMP1 came out of nowhere. I'm not entirely sure if that's legal or not, but oh well. The safety car anyway goes back to the garage. It despawns, so I assume it doesn't go all the way to the end of the pit lane. And we're back to racing. As it stands, very interesting experience. I don't know if it's just an AI quirk though. Just the LMP2s just seemed really aggressive. Even during practice and qualifying, I was always having to try and avoid them because they were quite unpredictable. Whereas the rest of the cars, including the modded LMP1 cars, just seemed to act normally. I don't think I saw a single incident involving GTs or LMP1s by themselves. I mean, going back through here again, we have yet another accident. Cars going by everywhere and having to avoid them. These three going three wide, sorry, through these corners. It's just, hitting everything. I was trying to, well, I was lifting off, to be honest, because I didn't really want to speed up and potentially put myself at risk. I mean, I had to purposely go off again to let this United Autosports LMP2 car through again. Pretty much in the same area as before. Although with the last one, I think it happened at these chicanes here. Again, having to do a similar sort of thing with this LMP2 car. They're just really, really unpredictable. Now, going on from here, it's going to be pretty much smooth sailing, although there will be a few times where I almost lose it. I pretty much maintain my position of first. So now let's just skip ahead to when the LMP2 cars come and overtake us. Okay, so here we are. So this is a few laps in. I'd say we're about 5 minutes from the end. And we have the LMP2s coming through and overtaking the GTEs, including myself, so I was a bit surprised, actually. I wasn't expecting this to happen because we had the really insane start to this race that I didn't think that there would be enough time for the LMP2s to actually go around and catch. It catches up. We had the LMP1s come through, both of them. There are only two. And that wasn't too bad. The two of them came through without really any fault. But given how the LMP2s have acted this entire race, I'm not going to be taking really any chances. Now for lap times, I'm actually doing pretty good. I've been consistently hitting like 151s. And as I was saying, I realized I can brake just so late in comparison to ACC on this final straight that is probably what's contributing to my really good lap times. For a while, I was actually setting the fastest times consistently, like one after another, faster and faster times for the entire GT category. Now, obviously, the LMP1s and LMP2s are going to be far faster than us. I think they were on average 10 seconds faster than I was, at least the LMP2s, with the two LMP1s, I think they were doing like 137s or 138s, which is to be expected. I just didn't really think, however, that there was enough time in the day to have this happen, where we have LMP2 cars actually catching us up. Going through my mind at this point was, will these LMP2s and also the LMP1s have, will they have held up the other GTs, especially because we're under blue flag racing right now, so I'm having to find a way to let the faster cars through. But would that have like held up the AI cars behind me? Because obviously I'm going to wait until here to be able to let these cars through. Now, whether that's actually what you're supposed to do, I'm not sure, but I thought it would be safer, especially given what happened, to let them through on straights, just to kind of give them that space, rather than trying to let them through during cornering, because I think that just would have ended up in a mess. I did get on my sim dashboard a few like yellow flashes, since I've been using that to kind of give me some extra info, because I'm using the endurance setup, or one of the endurance setups for that. It did flash yellow a few times, but I didn't really see anything come up on the boards, on the trackside boards. So I figured probably the LMP2s had some extra incidents with the GTE cars, or they were having incidents amongst themselves, but they are pretty spread out right now, so I don't really suspect it was because they were having more and more crashes. Since I have crash settings actually turned off during this race, which is something I'm going to change in the future, it was unintentional. There's not going to be really any debris on the road. I'm not entirely sure if with rFactor 2 if debris actually stays on the road until it's collected, like how it would be in a real race. Yeah, I wasn't really able to see anything other than my sim dashboard lighting up every few minutes, with some extra info, I guess, on what's happening. But I mean, so far so good, really. I've been really on the pace. It's been consistent, which I know is good. It's not always about getting better, well, faster I should say, but it's about having consistent pace. And I was happy to see that I was actually being quite consistent. And also, my AF Corsa buddy is quite far away from where I am. I believe at the time there was a 10-second gap or something, from 7 to 10 seconds. It varied. But we had that going on. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that was the other Ginetta, maybe. I'm not sure though. Just guessing on the engine sound. The Ginettas, for some reason, were just so much louder than the rest of the cars. I'm not sure if this is just a thing in real life or like if that's accurate. But they just seem to be noticeably louder in the sim compared to other cars when they go past. Again, I'm not sure if that's just a thing with the mod, or if that's actually based on reality. But as you've probably noticed, we're getting the checkered flag over the monitors there. So yeah, we finished. I came in first overall. Really happy with that result. For the first ever real race I've had, even if it was a test. Really happy to have qualified in pole and then get first overall. I'm probably going to try and up the difficulty a little bit. While the AI was set at 95% or something like that, I wasn't. I didn't really feel it was much of a challenge, if I'm honest. So I'm gonna probably for next race try and up it a little bit more, see if I can squeeze a little bit more out of them. But from now on, I'm going to be trying to do 1 hour long races. The next race I have planned will be an hour long. And we'll probably for the next race we'll be back in ACC. But I want to do more content definitely for rFactor 2 and other platforms. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And well, goodbye.